Hi, my name's John Marshall and welcome to this video which is all about how to create an Android app without coding. I've been creating mobile apps for 8 or 9 years. I've used quite a wide variety of techniques in order to create my apps. So I'll share some of my experience with you today and see if it can be of some assistance to you. The first way in which you can create apps without doing any coding is to use an online app maker. Now these come in a variety of different types. There's a few out there. I've used most of them myself and they are a great way of making mobile apps. The advantages are that you literally don't need to know a line of code and you have only got to learn how to use the app maker, so your learning curve is quite short. Certainly compared to learning to code, it's very short and you can be up and making your online apps in a very short space of time. I personally found that to be quite a filibuster. It motivated me to see my app up and running and creating an income for me quite quickly, and it helped me to be motivated to carry on building more apps and to build my income. They tend to be quite easy to use. They're not that sophisticated, so if you want to do something unique, you'll be struggling to do it with an online app maker. They do offer quite a range of facilities and features, so you can build things like push notifications into your apps quite easily. They're very good at holding information and things like that. You'll find that different ones have got different functions they can offer you. Some of them you can offer an online online booking service. Some of them offer RSS feeds and so on and so forth, but they are limited to what they already offer. So if you're looking to make a huge big app, and just one big app, and it's going to be this great new idea, it's not for you. You probably won't do it with an online app maker. You might be able to, but probably you won't be able to. You can do well with them, but you can't do everything with them. The risk is very low with an online app maker. You only pay a few dollars a month, so you're not outlaying very much at all. And even in terms of time, yes, it will take you a certain amount of time to learn to use them, but not that long compared to learning to code. So they can be a very good way to go. You can make some beautiful apps with some of the online app makers. If you take your time to make them look nice, they can look fantastic. Another way in which you can make Android apps without doing any coding is to buy a template, and you can find online stores where they will sell you all the code and a ready-made app for you to go off and remake as your own version, and this goes on quite a lot. You buy the template and you buy a license which either entitles you to make one version of the app or many versions of the app, depending on which license you buy. You open the template up in Android Studio or whichever development environment you want to use, and you change some of the insides of the app. It could be putting new questions in if it's a quiz app. If it's a game, you might need to change the images within the app or the characters. The whole process is known as reskinning. You take the guts of the app and you change it around and create what appears to be a new app. All the facilities and all the coding is done for you, so you don't need to code. You do need to know how to use Android Studio or whichever development environment you're going to use. And you can, if you want to. What I did when I first started developing was I actually hired a developer to show me how to use my development environment. At that time I was using something called Eclipse, and that was the big way of making Android apps at the time. So I had someone spend some time with me online on my PC via TeamViewer, and he showed me the basics of how to use it, and that really shortened my learning curve. And that's the sort of thing you probably need to do if you buy a template, because although you won't need to code, you will need to be able to use the development environment, move around it and change the little bits of the app which will need changing. The main disadvantage with this is that you don't know how good the code is, you don't know how old it is, and you don't know if it's going to work. I have bought a template, and I spent weeks on this app, and it kind of worked, but it didn't work very well at all, and I couldn't get to the bottom of what the problems were with it. It relied on in-app purchases. It's actually an app for the Apple Store, which is the same principle. I couldn't get the in-app purchases to work correctly, and it was a problem deep inside the code. And I'd spent weeks and weeks working on this app. The developer was okay to start off with, but he stopped responding after a while, and I was left high and dry. So what do you do then? So that was an expensive mistake for me, both in terms of my time, which is the main problem, and also wasn't too an expensive template to buy, but certainly in terms of my time, I could have spent those few weeks doing something a lot different. It's not quick to reskin, it's not easy, and I say there is a significant amount of risk for it, but it can be, if you get into it, it can be a good way of creating apps, and you don't really need to know any code whatsoever. Certainly not if you get good instructions with the app. One way of coding, of making an app without going anywhere near code, in fact going nowhere near a PC or anything, is to outsource to an Android app developer. You find someone that's going to create the app for you, you send them your specifications for the app, and they create it. Now, it all sounds very simple and easy to do this, but unfortunately things can go wrong. The main thing is that the developer thinks they know what you mean, but doesn't deliver the final result as you would want it. They consider they've done their job because they've stuck to the specification which you've given them, but the app doesn't look or feel or do really what you wanted it to do. And then you're stuck. You've paid a lot of money out, and we're talking about probably thousands of dollars to even do a fairly simple mobile app. You're then stuck with going back and asking that or another developer to carry on developing it and put right all the things that were wrong to start off with. There can be problems also with Android developers who lose interest in the product or don't have the time to finish it, or just go missing and stop responding. And what do you do then? You've probably half paid or fully paid for a mobile app which isn't working. So I've never gone down this route because I've just thought to myself that the risks outweigh the benefits. Okay, if you get it right and you get a really good app, it can do really well for you, but I've always thought that it's too risky a way for me to do it. So my way has been to develop a portfolio of smaller apps which I've developed myself, either using online app makers or using things such as Android Studio. I'll come on to how I develop my own apps some more in another video perhaps. So please, if that's been useful for you, and I hope that it has been, please find out more about making mobile apps over at my blog, which is appcopilot.com. And once you're over there, please do keep in touch. Pop your details into my email newsletter, and whenever I create some new content which might be of interest for you, then you'll get to know about it. I hope that helps, and thank you very much indeed, and good luck with your app making career.